Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Let's Learn English Online. Today we are going to discuss the difference in vocabulary of British and American English. So let's get started. Before moving on, don't forget to subscribe the channel and also don't forget to hit the bell icon below for more informative videos. British people say anti-clockwise while Americans say counterclockwise. British people say articulated lorry to a truck while Americans say trailer truck. British people say autumn while Americans say autumn or fall. British people say barrister while Americans say attorney. British people say bill while Americans say bill or check. British people say biscuit while Americans say cookie. British people say block of flats while Americans say apartment building. British people say bonnet to a car bonnet while Americans also use this same word. British people say bonnet to a clothing while Americans say hat. British people say boot while Americans say trunk to long boots. British people use the word car park while Americans use the word parking lot. British people use the word caravan while Americans use the word trailer. British people say chemist shop to a pharmacy while Americans say drugstore or pharmacy. British people say chest of drawers to a piece of furniture having drawers for storage while Americans say dresser or chest of drawers. British people say chips while Americans use the word fries and French fries. British people use the word cinema while Americans use the word movies. British people use the word clothes peg for a wooden or a plastic chip while Americans use the word clothespin. British people use the word coffin for the burial casket while Americans use the word coffin and casket. British people use the word crisp for crispy potato chips while Americans use the word potato chips. British people use the word crossroads for an intersection of two or more roads while Americans use the word intersection or just crossroads. British people say cupboard while Americans say cupboard for the cupboard used in the kitchen while they use closet for. British people say state agent while Americans say real estate agent. British people say state car while Americans say station wagon. British people say film while Americans say film and movie. British people say flat while Americans say apartment, flat or even studio. British people say flat tire while Americans also say flat tire to a tire that does not have enough air in it. British people say flyover while Americans say overpass for a bridge carrying one railway line or road over one another. British people say gear level for the levels of gears in the car while Americans say gear shift. British people say gearbox to a set of gears and their casing while Americans say transmission. British people say Girl Guide while Americans say Girl Scout. British people say ground floor to the lowest level of a building while Americans say ground floor or first floor. British people say handbag while Americans say handbag, purse or even shoulder bag. British people say high street while Americans say main street. British people say holiday while Americans say vacation. British people say hood to the cover of the car while Americans say convertible top. British people say jam to fruit preserves while Americans say jam or preserves. British people say jug while Americans say jug or pitcher. British people say juggernaut to a heavy vehicle while Americans say 18-wheeler. British people say lift while Americans say elevator. British people say lorry to a small truck while Americans say truck, semi or a tractor. British people say mad to a mentally disabled person while Americans use the word like crazy and insane. British people say main road while Americans say highway. British people say maize while Americans say corn. British people say maths while Americans say math. British people say motorbike while Americans say motorcycle. British people say motorway while Americans say highway, freeway, expressway and interstate highway. British people say nappy for baby pampers, while Americans say diaper. British people say noughts and crosses to a game played by two players with an X or O shaped squares. Americans use the word tic-tac-toe for this game. British people say pants and underpants for an underwear, while Americans say underpants or underwear. British people say pavement to the area reserved for footpath, while Americans say sidewalk. British people say petrol while Americans say gas or gasoline. British people say plow while Americans say Big Dipper to plowing. British people say pocket money while Americans say allowance. British people say post while Americans say mail. British people say postbox while Americans say mailbox. British people say postcode while Americans say zip code. British people say postman while Americans say mailman, mail carrier and letter carrier. British people say pub while Americans say bar. British people say public toilet while Americans say restroom and public bathroom. British people say railway while Americans say railroad. British people say return ticket while Americans say round trip. British people say reverse charge while Americans say collect call. British people say ring road while Americans say beltway, freeway, highway, loop. British people say road surface while Americans say pavement and blacktop. British people say roundabout while Americans say traffic circle or roundabout. British people say rubber while Americans say razor. British people say rubbish while Americans say garbage or trash. British people say rubbish bin while Americans say garbage can or trash can. British people say shop while Americans say shop or store. British people say silencer to a car silencer while Americans say muffler. British people say single ticket while Americans say one way. British people say solicitor while Americans say lawyer or attorney. British people say spanner while Americans say branch. British people say sweets while Americans say candy. British people say taxi while Americans say taxi or taxi cab. British people say tea towel while Americans say dish towel. British people say telly informal or TV to a television while Americans say television or just TV. British people say third party insurance while Americans say liability insurance. British people say timetable while Americans say schedule. British people say tin while Americans say can. British people say toll motorway while Americans say toll road or turnpike. British people say torch while Americans say flashlight. British people say trousers while Americans say pants or even trousers. British people say underground train while Americans say subway. British people say vest while American people say undershirt. British people say wallet while Americans say wallet or billfold. British people say zip while Americans say zipper. So this is it for today. See you in the next video. Just stay tuned with Let's Learn English Online for more informative videos.